Imagine yourself stuck on an island with only 100 days to escape. But not only that, if you die, it's all over. Yeah, and it all looks friendly. Let me tell you, it's really not, okay? There's creatures lurking everywhere. It's not good. Big creatures, big bugs, and giant T-Rexes. It's scary, and I've set myself a few challenges. First one is, don't die. Which is easier said than done. And next up is take down the Broodmother on the hardest mode. And then following that, taking down the dragon, and taking down the Megapithecus. Can I take down all 3 of these bosses and then take on the Alpha Overseer by day 100? Oh, let's find out. I'm probably gonna die. My 100 days of being stranded on the island started here. Waking up, all alone, just me, trying to get off this place. But I started getting myself some resources, because I'm not going to get anywhere without that. I started filling up my pockets with stone, running along the beach. I then got myself some wood, and got myself splinters along the way. I made myself a pickaxe, and then I carried on running along, getting myself some more resources, till I ran into a group of nasties. Wow, there's a bunch of dilomorphs. Oh, why are they chasing after me? There's bugs. What the heck? Okay, let's run away. I then came across some stone, which came in handy. I made myself a hatchet and some weapons to defend myself. Yeah, Dilomorph, and I took care of business. It was attacking my little friend, little Lystro. How dare he? I got myself some hide, and then I killed the Lystro myself. I wanted more hide. That's exactly what I did. Then I found a little dodo. I'm a nice guy. I'm a very nice guy. I then ran along the beach with my weapon. Aha, unstoppable. I got myself some more wood with my hatchet, and then carried on running along the beach and got myself an explorer note. Stop chasing me. Get away from me. Lady, stop speaking. Wait, what? Oh my goodness. Stole my hide. Get back here right now. Give me my hide back. Now. It's always the same. Yeah, Pegomastix or IKUGEE. Yeah, you know the thing I'm on about. It steals the loot, flies down. They're annoying. Anyway, I got myself some stone, and I made myself a bow and arrow to kill things from a distance. I didn't want that happening again. I then named my Pegomastix my best friend. I came across a PT that I wanted to harvest for resources like hide. And, yeah, it didn't go very well. Let's just say that. I came across another PT, which I wasn't going to let that happen again. So I bowled him down, and I was able to take him out and harvest the resources. I then found some Meganeuras, which are great for chitin. So I quickly harvested them up, as I was going to need it for saddles later on. And then I got attacked by a bunch of dinos. Oh, I cannot see a thing. Oh my. Die. 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 After farming all the resources and having the hide, I made myself a raft and stuck myself down a bed. And I was able to go to sleep for the first night. Day 2. I woke up and I ate myself some breakfast that I previously cooked up the night before. I then set sail over to Herbivore Island, where it should be a little bit safer. Except I underestimated one thing. The cold. It was killing me. It was that cold. So, I thought the best thing to do was get some hide and then make myself some hide armor. Hopefully prevent death, which would not be good this early on. I then killed a parasaur and claimed its baby, which it later died of starvation. Yeah, we do not speak of that. Anywho, I continued getting myself hide until I could make myself a forge. I wanted to get myself some metal tools, so I got myself some metal, and then placed down my forge and got it cooking up. I placed myself down some storage, as I didn't want to be running around with loads of loot on me, and then I made myself my smithy, which I could craft my tools. I did exactly that. Made my tools, and went out, farming as much metal as I could. And then I met the biggest enemy I could. Ephiomia! I chased this thing around forever. Come here. Oh. No! Yeah, I didn't give up. I chased it down and beat it with my axe. There was no escaping me today. But things started to look up for me when I came across a high-level PT. I didn't miss this opportunity, and I crafted myself some narcotics and bowled it down to the ground. Yeah, I wanted to tame it. So I knocked it out. Luckily, I had some prime meat to actually tame it up. I was a happy man. I then found a Triceratops with a baby, and since my parasaur died, I wanted to tame it. They're just quite terrifying. Ooh. Oh my god, it's charging at me. After dealing with the Triceratops, I killed it and I harvested it for more resources. I then claimed myself a baby Triceratops, which was good. No, I needed this. I needed it for the berries and everything. Just had to make sure it didn't die. Nighttime came along and we went into day 3. I took my new trike out to go get some berries. I had a little testing it out. It was pretty good. It was efficient. I got a lot of berries. It was nice. I then got myself some metal and flint and just stocked up on resources before we left this island. I set sail. I loaded up my PT and off we went. I had to find somewhere to live. So I sailed the whole of day 4 into day 5 and I found this place. Whoa, what is that? Why has it got so many spikes on it? Okay. On day 6, after finding a place where I wanted to build, I got myself a bunch of wood. I wanted to make myself some structures and base defense so I didn't die and nothing could come attack me. I then found myself a little oviraptor. So I took care of the parent and killed it. Now, these things are good. They're very good for egg production. Day 7 came around and I crafted a bunch of structures so I could start building my base. I placed a giant wall all the way around with a gate for access. Safety. I wanted to keep things out and I wanted to stay alive. I then needed more structures, which meant more wood. So off we went. With the goal in mind of building a base, I powered through farming and got myself all the wood I needed to start building. So I began placing down the foundations. And honestly, I had no idea what I was actually doing. I was just kind of going with the flow, and by the end of the day, I ended up with a couple of foundations and a set of stairs. Not good. The next morning, I continued building the base, just laying down the foundations and trying to make it look nice, adding some details to the foundations. I then needed more resources, and I quickly realized if I'm going to survive 100 days here on this island, I'm going to need some dinosaurs that can harvest resources. That would help. So, on day 9, I looked at cryopods. Oil, polymer, crystal. The 3 resources that I was going to need to make some. And then I could store creatures in them and tame things easier. So off I went, on a journey. On the way, I found myself an explorer note, which gave me some experience, which was nice, which meant more weight and more stamina for my PT. Which also meant I could carry more. I ended up finding myself some oil, and I was quite happy. I was a happy man. I found myself plenty of oil, which meant I could craft a fabricator as well. I'm pretty sure you need that for a fabricator. I'm not too sure though. I found myself some crystal as well while I was here, and I gathered as much as possible. I figured I was going to need a lot of these resources overall, and the only thing I needed now was polymer. But I stacked up on other resources before we went and got polymer, and I just got as much oil as I could find. I also found some pearls on the way, which was quite nice. I then found myself some kairukus, which is the only way of getting organic polymer on the island. So I had to find a few of these and kill them, which they are pretty hard to find, I won't lie. The other way of getting polymer is through obsidian, but I didn't have an Ankylosaurus, so that seemed inefficient. Once I killed them, I started harvesting them for their resources. I used a wooden club to harvest them for their polymer, which I actually find is the best way and most efficient way of getting the polymer. I ended up getting enough to make about 5 cryopods, which was nice. I then found a few more pearls and headed over to the obelisk, except it was being guarded by a giant dinosaur, which was not ideal since I needed to craft my cryopods here. Okay, how are we gonna do this? I need to lead you off the mountain so I can craft them. Otherwise you're just gonna kill me. Alright, come on, let's go. Oh my goodness. He might kill my PT if he bites me. After a while, I eventually managed to get him off the side of the mountain. But just to be safe, I wanted to drag him a bit further down, in case he decided to climb the mountain and kill me, like a mountain goat. That would not be good. I began making my cryopods, and while I was waiting, I went and got myself some more resources. Gathered myself some crystal, since near my base, there isn't really much of it. Once they finished crafting, I had 6 of them. I had some extra resources left over, which was always nice for a fabricator, and then I headed home. Yeah, and for the rest of the day, I made myself some trank arrows. On day 10, I had myself the goal of taming a mammoth, so I could get wood much more efficient. On the way, I found myself an airdrop which contained a mammoth saddle. It must be a sign. I began my search for mammoths. Trying to find a higher level one is not very easy. So I spent a while flying around and then got lost in a cloud of fog, which I was stuck in here for about 5 minutes. Once I made my way out, I ran out of stamina, but luckily I didn't die. But that would not be good. I finally found myself a high level mammoth, level 140. All I had to do was knock it out and tame it up. Haha, you can't get me up here. Oh, never mind. Ow. Come back here now. Ah. Right, come on. A few more. Yes! After shooting it with a bunch of tranquilizer arrows, I eventually knocked it out. All I had to do was put the food in it and wait for it to tame up, which took quite a while. Once it tamed up, I had myself my mammoth, which meant I could start farming wood more efficiently. I cryoed it up, and I went back to the house, only to find I had a problem. Okay, wait. Why is that not working? What the? Wait. Huh? What the? I found out that I couldn't throw it out because I didn't have a cryofridge, which meant I needed to make one. So I wanted to make a fabricator. I needed some spark powder for that, so I made some. On day 11, off I went to get some cementing paste. I needed resources so I could make myself my fabricator and my cryofridge and my generator. So I came here to get some cementing paste and pearls. I stole the beaver's dam and off I went. It was quite good. Got myself a bunch of cementing paste. It was nice. I then headed over to the snow to try to find myself some pearls, which they don't stick out as easy as they once used to. So I had to jump in the water like a little fishy and swim. I swam around looking for these things, and they don't stick out. They're actually quite hard to find, to be honest, but I needed as many as I could so I could craft my cryofridge. I only needed 7 electronics, so I gathered the pearls that I needed, and I got myself some other resources while I was here. I needed more crystal and more oil. So I filled up my inventory of what I could carry, and I headed back home. I made myself my fabricator, and then all I needed now was metal. So off I went, headed to the nearest mountain, and gathered myself some metal. I could really do with an Ankylosaurus, but my biggest problem was the weight. I couldn't really carry too much back with me on the PT. I then used the metal to craft myself some electronics. I was able to make 7, which I needed for my cryofridge. I then got attacked by a little Hesperornis, which actually gives polymer. Quite nice. I needed that. I then headed over to the snow and found myself some more Kairukus for organic polymer. They're quite hard to find, but I managed to find 2 of them. I killed them. I harvested them up using the club, and I headed over to the obelisk, only to find a new problem. What the? What is that? Carchinosaurus. What the? Why has it got spikes on it? Alright, then. Oh, okay. Off the mountain. Oh, my God. Why is he so fast? Oh, my God. No. What the? Why is he so fast? Off the mountain. Yeah. Once I dragged the dinosaur off the mountain, I was able to craft my cryofridge in peace. Honestly, I don't even know what that thing was, but I want one. I crafted my cryofridge, and off we went. I made my way back home, and I placed down my cryofridge. I tried to throw out my mammoth and realized I forgot to place my generator. Yeah, you need one of these to power it. It's kind of stupid, to be honest, but hey. I placed it down, put the fuel inside, and had to wait a further 1.5 minutes to actually throw this thing out. That's ridiculous. While I was waiting, I went and got myself some more metal. Once I had a bunch, I went back home and threw it out. End of day 12, got a mammoth, and I was a happy man. On day 13, I saddled up my mammoth, and I went to go get wood. It couldn't fit through the gateway that I built, though. It was a bit too big. I then somehow started playing the war drums. I had no idea how this even began, but I sat here for about 5 minutes. It was like a little mini game. It was quite fun. I continued farming my wood, and I was getting about 150 per tree. It was pretty good. It was nice. It was much better than farming it by hand, that's for sure. It was slow, inefficient. But now I was able to gather as much as I needed, so I could craft all my structures. Once I finished, I had myself almost half an inventory of wood, and I also got myself narco berries while I was farming. It was quite nice. I went back and crafted myself some narcotics. With these, I made myself some trank arrows, and I wanted to go tame some stuff. So I went around looking for things to tame. I then came across one of these. I'd never seen one before, but I wanted to tame one before day 100. Apparently they're quite hard to tame, so we'll do that another day. On day 14, I found myself an airdrop which contained an Argentavis saddle. Maybe that's a sign to tame one. I actually do need one for farming. So I had a look around trying to find a high level one, and I couldn't find any. I had to kill them and force them to respawn, and eventually I found myself a high level one. It was perfect. All I had to do was tame it. I probably should have built a trap for this, but oh well. Come on. Why are you up there? Come down. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, you already know what's happened. Oh my. Why is my luck so bad? Oh, you're drowning as well. So, the one high-level Argentavis that I found ended up in the water. Flyers aren't really supposed to be underwater, but it did. But I didn't give up. I continued trying to tame it. Come on. Oh my god, it's dying so fast. It's on 92%. Come on. Come on. No. Just along the beach, I managed to find myself another high-level Argentavis. Quite lucky. I started knocking it out, but I was a bit worried of it flying into the ocean. That would not be good if I lost 2 to the water. Come on. No. No, you did not. Oh. No. Please say it's not. Come on. Why? Why does it always do this to me? So, we had a second Argentavis that fell in the water. I got myself some prime meat off of the old body, and I went over and used it to try tame it, only it ended up dying anyway. Yeah, that's the second Argentavis lost to the water. It's quite unlucky. I went out and farmed some stone, you know. I wanted to make a trap. I wasn't going to make the same mistake. I was about to say twice. I did. I want to make it 3 times. So I made a trap and let it inside. And all I had to do now was knock it out, and it wasn't going anywhere. Once it was knocked out, I made myself some spikes just to protect it. And I got attacked by a Carno. Yeah. Once it finished taming, I headed home. I put it on follow, and on day 15, I saddled up my Argentavis, and I went out looking for things to tame. Either a Doedicurus or an Ankylo. Something to farm. Anyway, it didn't take me long until I found the level 100 Doedicurus. It's not too high level, but it's better than nothing. It farms stone, which is nice. So I took it back to the base, and I began knocking it out with trank arrows. I probably should have made a trap, but oh well. I then had an intruder, a Dillo, and I thought I'd knock this thing out and tame this as well, get some egg production going. I then went out to get some fiber. I needed fiber for a Doedicurus saddle, so I took the sickle and gathered it. Once I farmed a bunch of fiber, I went back and made myself a saddle for my Doedicurus. I spent the rest of day 15 into day 16 farming stone. Yeah, I was getting about 150 per node, which was pretty nice. It was very efficient. I then used my Argentavis with the Doedicurus, and this was even faster. I just flew around while I was hitting. It was nice. I got myself some wood as well, which meant I could craft myself a bunch of structures. We had all the resources we needed. We had plenty. So, all I had to do was craft them, and I made myself 100 walls. Whilst I was waiting for them to craft, I headed out looking for things to tame, mainly an Ankylosaurus. But I found myself an airdrop on the way and found a Daedon saddle, which is nice, because I'm going to need one of them later for the boss fights. I then came across a level 140 Ankylosaurus, which I actually spotted earlier on. So I grabbed it and took it back home. I then built myself a trap, so I could put the tame in it and knock it out, rather than it running around the base wild, or even worse, running into the water and dying. Yeah, we didn't want that to happen again. As the day started to come to an end, I went out looking for something else to tame, and I found a Tapejara. Yeah, these are pretty good for taming Quetzals, and I also came across a Therizino, which I would later need for a boss. I decided on taming the Tapejara since I didn't have enough trank arrows for both. I also wanted a Quetzal, so it seemed like the right idea. I then found a wild Quetzal that was low level, so I killed it to force the respawns, try to find a higher level one. Once I headed home, I started building with all the resources that I had. I began building a giant wall around my base, even bigger than the last one, which now I can store a bunch of dinosaurs here, like T-Rexes and everything I need. Also, I had plenty of room to build a base. I made myself a refrigerator just to kind of refrigerate all this prime meat that I got, you know? If I want to tame things, it's nice to have it on standby. I then took my Ankylosaurus out with the RG to farm some resources. It was gathering a lot. It's much better than using a pickaxe, that's for sure. So, once I gathered some metal, which I didn't actually gather too much, I made some forges. I had to get these on the go, you know, get the metal cooking so I could craft things. I did that for the rest of the night. Day 18, I started building my base. Yeah, and I started trying to figure out what I actually wanted to do here. I had no idea. I just kind of went with the flow, though, and I thought, you know what, let's build a beach house. So that's what I did. I spent most of the day building this, and by the end of the day, it actually started to look quite good. I had myself some windows, and it was looking nice. I was quite happy with living here. We just had to make it a bit bigger. It seemed quite small right now. I then went to sleep, and on day 19, I went out farming stone. It's quite easy farming it this way. You just level up the Doedicurus into weight, and it will harvest until it's half full. The only problem is that I was going to need a lot of stone to actually finish my base. So I gathered some, and I ended up with quite a bit of stone, which was enough to expand it a little bit. One of the only resources that I really need now is metal. So I went out and I farmed as much as I could. The only thing we actually do need is a forge. We need more forges. We've only really got 2, so we could do with more, definitely. I then continued building my base, just placing these little windows. I just wanted to get these done, so it was looking nice. I then went out and got myself a bunch of wood, since that was the only resource that I was actually missing. So, after gathering a bunch of it, I went back and I had quite a big inventory full. I had enough to craft a bunch of structures I needed to, expand the base. So I also placed myself down some crop plots as I needed vegetables. I wanted to be able to make vegetable cakes later, which healed my dinosaurs in boss fights. The only thing I needed was the seeds and the fertilizer. So I went and got myself some and then got the fertilizer from the mammoth poop. Oh, it's lovely. Since I was expanding my base, I thought it was a good idea to place a few more forges down. So I got them on the go. On day 20, I went out looking for a Beelzebufo, a little frog. I needed one of these for cementing paste and also for running the swamp cave and getting the artifact. I ended up finding a high level one, so I headed back home and fixed up my trap and began knocking it out. Oh, they're quite an ugly little dinosaur, aren't they? After I knocked it out, I had to feed it and wait for it to tame up. It didn't take long though, and I was able to run around for the rest of the day. I just ran around killing things along the beach and leveling it up. It was good. On day 21, I went out farming more stone. I wanted to make myself some gunpowder, and for that I needed spark powder. So I went out and just gathered as much as I could, and I also needed flint. So I went out and got a bunch of that as well. And now I had a bunch of flint, and I was able to craft a bunch of spark powder. The only thing I'm really lacking would be charcoal. But anyway, I went out and found myself a couple of airdrops, and I got some nice loot. Came back to base and, got some nice little extra resources. As the day came to an end, I made myself some simple rifle ammo for my sniper, and I made some tranquilizer darts. Day 22, I found myself a Brontosaurus. Yes, it's a big dinosaur. I needed this, though, to actually tame something. Whilst I was trying to tame it, I got snuck up on by a gang of raptors. It was not friendly. Whoa! Oi! Stop attacking my PT. What the heck? Hey! No! Get off it. Luckily, my bird didn't die, and it survived another day. I continued shooting narcotic arrows into the Brontosaurus, and after a while, I eventually knocked him out. Yeah, it's a big dinosaur, It takes a lot of narco arrows to actually knock it out. Whilst I was waiting, I went and found one of these. A Rhyniognatha. Yeah, let's go with Rhino Bird. It's an easier name to call it. Anyway, I killed it and actually got a pheromone. I don't know what to do with this, but yeah, we're going to figure that out. I then prepared my Brontosaurus and just put a saddle on it and got all the structures I needed to, tame one of these things. I had no idea how to do it, but I was going to try. So on day 23, I flew around and tried to find myself a high level one. After a while, I managed to find one, so I placed down my generator and my cryofridge and I threw out my Bronto. All we had to do now was get its attention and try not to kill it. Oh no. Oh no, I've destroyed my generator. That's not good. Come on. Come on, impregnate my Bronto. Yes, it worked. And just like that, my Brontosaurus was impregnated. And all we had to do now was wait for the baby to pop out. So I built myself a little house to keep it safe. Then my Brontosaurus started dying rapidly. And I was very confused. What the? Huh? Why did it die? Wait a minute. Oh my god. Rhyniognatha. Yeah. Haha, we got a baby. Wait, why is it only level 35 though? So what I didn't realize is the entire time I was waiting for the Bronto to pop it out, I should have been imprinting on it to improve the baby's level. Anyway, I spent the rest of the day in day 24 waiting for it to raise, and once it raised, I took it back to the base. Yeah, it's a good day. On day 25, I made myself some scuba gear because I wanted to go swimming in the ocean. I'm just joking. I wanted to go down the swamp cave. Yeah, I had a little task. I actually almost died. Well, it wasn't good. Anyway, I managed to take care of the threat. Setting the things on neutral, and they killed it. It was a very close call, though. My RG nearly died. I wouldn't have been happy. I then started making my way through the cave, which was pretty easy to clear, and I got myself my first artifact. Yeah, got myself a bunch of cementing paste, which is really nice in this cave. Yeah, you get a lot of it. I wanted to make the most of this and clear the entire cave to get even more. Yeah, and When I went back to base, I had myself a bunch of cemented paste, and then chitin. I was able to make myself a saddle for this thing. Yeah, now we can start using this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I have no idea how to actually use it, though. I then made myself some forges, because, you know, we didn't have many. You know, we needed more. We needed a mass production. So I had 5 on the go now, and on day 26, you know, we're going strong. I made myself a little tree platform and some sap taps, because I needed sap to actually use the new dinosaur I tamed. I placed them down and, you know, got some sap going. Also need it for vegetable cakes later on. And after I got myself some sap, I went out attacking things. Just testing it out. Seeing what it does. It's not very strong though, as it's only level 35 when it popped out. But it's pretty cool, you know? Done a lot of fun. I then went and found myself a saber-tooth, which I could use to clear other caves. I knocked it out and tamed it. On day 27, I found myself a high-level Therizinosaur, which was amazing. I was very happy with this. You know, this high-level ones are quite rare to find, and I was going to need them for the boss fight. And also, they gather fiber really well. You know, they're great at it. So making saddles later on is going to be a lot easier. They're also fantastic at farming hide, which, when you level it up into hide, it actually gathers a lot. So it's a great team to have. Yeah. I then went out and got myself some stone and resources, and I found a wild Therizino outside the base. I killed it, and I claimed its baby. Yeah. On day 28, I was enjoying the fiber farming. I went out and got some more. Just stack up on it, you know? Why not? I then found myself a high-level Megatherium, you know, which is great, considering I just found a high-level Therizinosaur. Things are going well. Things are looking up for me. Alright, I had to tame this thing, because I was going to need that for taking down the Broodmother. I then got attacked by a little pestle. These things are not my friends. I had to take care of that thing. On day 29, it finished taming. I went home, and I started building some structures. I made a bunch of things for the base, because I wanted to extend it. I went out and got myself some more resources and got some berries and just gathered a bunch of things. I got myself a bunch of narco berries, which I was actually going to need for taming things later. Did a bit of base expansion, and I had a ton of stone after a stone run, and, you know, I was ready to build. I was in a building mood. So I spent the rest of the day and night just building, and on day 30, I had another goal in mind. Getting the second artifact. So I headed down my saber-tooth that I previously tamed, and I had to try to take on the cave. I may have underestimated it. Ow. 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 This is not good. My goodness. Ow. Oh my god, I'm actually dying. No. Oh. It was a bit of a close call. I managed to get my way out of the cave and feed my saber-tooth up, and I managed to clear it. Get myself my artifact, and I headed back. Only to find that my RG was not where I left it. Yeah. It died. So I had to run home for the rest of the day. And just, you know, it's a long way on a saber-tooth. Anyway, when I got back, I went around looking for a new Argentavis since my last one died. I found one and led it back to the base, and I had to make a trap for it. It was a pain. It kept flying away from me every time that it got close. But eventually, I built myself a trap, and all I had to do was lead it inside. So, I led it inside, and now we had ourselves an Argentavis down. Yeah, it was good. I was happy. We had a new Argent. I had picked up my gates, and it was looking a bit weird. What the? Why does it look like that? Alright. Let's pick this up. Oh, no. Yeah, I thought it died. Well, luckily it didn't, though. And, yeah, we had ourselves another Argentavis, which was good. On day 31, I went out flying with the Rhyniognatha. I found myself a high-level Rex, which I got in the trap. Yeah, I stuck it in there and placed my little gate down, and all we had to do was tame it up. Yeah. And now we got one boss dino of each. It was going well. All I need now is the opposite gender, so we can have ourselves some breeder pairs. And, you know, mass production the eggs and get babies. I had a little fly around while I was waiting for it to tame, to see if I could find anything, but I didn't. So I went and picked it up after it finished. I flew back home, really slow. Later that day, I found myself a couple of airdrops, and I got some extra resources. It was a nice little bonus. I went and looted my tree sap taps to get a bit of sap. I then found a Megatherium in the redwoods while I was there, and it was a high level. I had to tame this. It was the opposite gender, so I could actually start breeding them. So I spent the rest of the night taming it up and knocking it out, and The next morning, it was tamed, and I started building my base. I did a bit of base expansion, and just, it improved. It was looking a bit small. I wanted some extra space. I did that all day 32 into day 33, and honestly, it was looking good. I was happy with it. I spent the rest of the day just doing the same thing, just farming and building, and yeah, I had an idea. I had to add some lights in here, because at night time I can't see a doodle. It's not good. Day 34, I found myself a dodo, because I needed some kibble. Yeah, I want a nice little kibble production going. After I got a couple of eggs, I made myself the kibble and went for a swim in the ocean. Yeah, I had a goal, a plan in mind of taming an Ankylosaurus. I managed to find one not too far from the base, level 140, so I had to tame this thing up. And also, the goggles that you use actually do seem to help, which is nice. I then went and fought a megalodoodle with my dolphin, and I was winning. It was going well, until I called for backup, and it was a big group of them. What is that? What the? Oh my god. It came clear to me that the ocean is not a friendly place. I already knew this to a degree, but now it's even worse. I did manage to find myself some pearls down here, which was quite nice, and I found some ammonites, which gave some resources. I wanted black pearls from them, but they didn't drop, so I gave up. On day 35, I found myself a Basilosaurus. I grabbed myself some mutton from the base, and I came out taming it. Yeah, these things are great. If one of these, I'd be like Aquaman. I'll just rule the ocean. They have so much health and do so much damage that nothing can stand a chance. I came across a wild one and harvested it for resources, and it gave me a bunch of oil, which is super nice. I went back to base and repaired my scuba armor and headed out and found myself a Tuzo. Yeah, a giant squid. I needed this because the tentacles I need for the boss, and I got some black pearls as well. I then found an Alpha Mosa. These things are rare. And I also need this for the final boss in the game. I was very lucky to find this. On day 36, I headed into the hard underwater cave, and I quickly realized why it's called that. Oh my, what the? Why is there so many? Oh my goodness. It's so tanky as well. This is not good. Luckily, we had our Basilosaurus, which is pretty tanky. I then looted a little drop here and got myself some nice little items. I made my way down into the hidden chamber where the artifact room is, and I was greeted very kindly. Help! Oh my god, I'm stuck. Major problem. I did manage to clear the danger and collect my artifact, and then we had a long swim ahead of us. I had to swim home for the rest of the day. On day 37, I arrived home, and I went and placed all my tributes into the box. We managed to get a bunch of megalodon teeth and blubber, which was good. I repaired my armor, and I went out getting artifacts. I headed to the easy underwater cave, and I got that one. And headed over to the pack cave, and I gathered that artifact as well. Just to top my day off, I found myself a high-level Rex just wandering around Herbivore Island. All I had to do was get it inside of the trap that I've built, but it just kept on denying. It didn't want to go in there, I guess, and I was getting quite annoyed with it. Come on. In the trap, in the trap, in the trap. No! Alright, come on. Yes, come on. Aha! Place the gate, place the gate, place the gate. Once I managed to get it in the trap, all I had to do was knock it out and tame it. So, we did part 1. All we had to do now is wait for it to tame up. So, while I was actually waiting for it to tame, I headed home and built myself a new trap to put bigger dinos in here. I had things I needed to tame. Once it tamed up, I named it Mustard since it was yellow, and yeah, we got ourselves a second Rex now. And we can start breeding them, get ourselves some Rex eggs. It was nice. I then made myself some air conditioners and placed them down so I could actually hatch the eggs. Without these, I'm not going to be able to hatch them. And then for the rest of the day, I threw down my Rex eggs and waited. On day 38 in the morning, my Rexes hatched, so I claimed them all. That's good, we got some babies going now. Then went ahead and made myself some narcotics, and I also had my Megatheriums. Yeah, I bred these as well. I get these on the go for the boss fight. Luckily, one of them gave birth to twins, so we already had 3. All we needed now was about 17 of them. I then headed out with a mammoth and gathered myself a bunch of berries so I could fill up the troughs. The last thing I want is for these things to starve to death. I then went out and got myself some raw meat as well for my Rexes, since they're very hungry and they eat a lot of meat. I gathered myself as much as I could, and I found a Therizino. Well, 150. I couldn't be killing that. That was definitely a one to tame. I picked that up and took it back to base. It was actually kind of hurting though, not gonna lie. It almost killed me. Anyway, I dropped it into my new trap, and all I had to do was craft some trank darts, and I began shooting it. Yeah, I just had to pummel it with a bunch of tranquilizer darts and arrows until eventually I knocked him out. I then tidied up the base by moving my Megatheriums outside. I needed a bit more space. I then spent the rest of the day just going out, farming drops. Just get as many drops as I could to try to get some saddles. I need these for the boss fight. Also, I got some nice weapons. I got some good long necks. I also got a Rex BP. Pretty good. On day 39, my Therizino finished taming, and it came out with some pretty good stats. Good health and good melee. I then found myself another Therizino. Yeah, another high level one. And this one was a male, which meant I could actually breed them. Anyway, I flew back to base of it and knocked it out, and all I had to do was tame it. For the rest of the day, while it was taming, I did a bunch more raising of Rexes. I was going to need these for the Megapithecus boss, and also the Overseer. On day 40, I was able to start breeding my Therizinos. That's exactly what I did. I sat around and waited for them to hatch, and there we go. Yeah, we've got a production of Theris going. As I was raising dinosaurs, I was getting females, which I could add into the breeding line. This is very helpful for gathering more eggs. I then went out of my mammoth and gathered myself a bunch of berries so I could keep these things fed. I had to place myself down a few more feeding troughs since I had a lot of babies going, and the Rexes alone eat way too much meat. I also moved my air conditioners downstairs as I feel it looked a lot better. I boxed it in and you could never even know they're there. I then decided to get a bunch of eggs and just kind of stock up so I could do a big hatching in one go. I did this for them all. And it was going pretty well. You know, I've got myself Megatheriums, I got myself Therizinos and Rexes. I have every single dinosaur I need to take down every boss. The dragon, brood, and the monkey. Later that day, I found myself one of these little flappy birds. I sat in the nest and tried to tame it. I was probably doing it all wrong though, and nothing happened. I quickly gave up. Although, I did manage to find myself a high-level dragonfly. I wanted to tame this thing, so I had myself my little pheromone, and all I had to do was get it low enough so it would impregnate my Rex. It was a bit of a pain. Come on. Impregnate it. Hurry up. What are you doing? Why is it not working? Oh wait, it worked! So, after a while, we did manage to get our Rex impregnated, which was good. You know, I wanted to try and increase its level this time and get a high level one. So I slowly flew it back to base and I fed it everything it required to boost its level. I continued doing this until day 41, where it popped out as a level 142. Which is, I don't know why. I don't know why it didn't get higher. Anyway, I named it Greenfly, and now we have a higher level one. I then did a bit more egg collecting around the base, and then I headed to the obelisk to see what the boss required. It turned out all we needed was a bunch of tributes and another artifact, and we were ready to go. So I named my Therizino the Cave Dweller, and then I headed over to the Ice Cave. I may have underestimated it. It's a bit deadly. Okay. Okay. What the? Yeah, Perlovias. They're a real challenge within this cave, since they dismount you and they stun you. Which means I could easily die if I'm getting attacked by multiple things. So, I've got to be careful, you know. But I was getting myself a lot of hide, which was quite nice. Oh my god. No, not again. Oh my, this is a big room. Oh. Oh, what have I done? Ow. Okay. Ouch. That was close. Good job I've got good armor on. That was a close call. If I'd had bad armor on, they probably would have killed me. It did almost destroy it. Anyway, we made our way to the boss room and I got my artifact. And all we had to do was make it out the cave before we died. To the cold. Later that day I got home and this is all the hide that I got. It's going to be helpful for crafts later on. I added my artifact to my little stash, and I went out of my little green fly just killing things for the rest of the day. I was bored. I didn't really have much to do today. Day 43, I went back underwater and found myself a bunch of tributes that I was going to need for the boss fight. I killed a bunch of megalodons for the megalodon teeth, as it was the one thing I needed. I then found myself an alpha megalodon. I needed this for the last boss. I killed that and gathered it, so I didn't have to worry about it later on. I then found a female Tuzosaurus, level 150, which I killed. I probably should have tamed it, but hey. I needed the black pearls, and I also needed the tentacles. And then I found an alpha Tuzo, which is these things. Yeah, I mean, they're tanky. And also pretty annoying to kill because they just run around. I managed to kill it, and I got myself a bunch of black pearls and the alpha Tuzo eye. I added all these to my little box of boss tributes, and we're one step closer to all the bosses. On day 44, I grabbed my Anky and we went out farming. I got myself a bunch of obsidian. Since we now had a bunch of cementing paste, I thought it was a good time to get polymer. So I gathered a bunch, and then I got lost in a cloud of smoke. What the? What the? Oh no. Ow. So I got jumped on out of a cloud of smoke. I tried to lead it away, only it got worse. I dropped my Ankylo in front of it, which wasn't ideal. Luckily, it didn't kill it, and I dragged it over into the pit of lava. Well, I burnt it. After I took it down using the lava, I went over and looted it. I actually got myself a heart, which is really good since I need that for the final boss, and they're quite hard to get. I then finished up farming my obsidian, and I went back to base and crafted myself my polymer. Yeah, I crafted a bunch of it. I went out and got myself some more metal and other resources. There was something I wanted to craft. An industrial forge. Yeah, one of these. These things are much better than my usual little forges. It cooks a lot faster, and I'm going to need it. If I want to be making saddles and everything else, I need the production. So I filled up all my little forges with metal and waited for it to cook up. And while I was waiting, and for the rest of the night, I just did some egg farming. Stacked up on eggs so I could do a big breeding session. And then that night, I threw out all my eggs and my Theri eggs and waited. Day 45. Found myself a lovely little Quetzal. Yeah, high level. I thought I'd better tame this thing, so I chased it down and knocked it out. All I had to do was wait for it. And after a while, I had myself my first Quetzal. Perfect. This is great, because I can use this for transporting things to the boss fights. I then went around imprinting all my babies and finishing off raising them. Yeah, we had a lot of dinosaurs now. We had a bunch of Megatheriums, Rexes, and Theris. We only needed a few more. I then went around my forges and collected the metal. We only needed a bit more before we could make our industrial forge. So while I was waiting for that, I made myself some ghillie armor and went to go try tame a flappy bird. It didn't go very well, and I soon gave up and just killed the parent and tried to claim the baby. That didn't work either. It's worth a try. Anyway, I went down the swamp cave again and to get myself a bunch of cementing paste, and I looted the drops while I was down there as well. But the cementing paste was unreal. I just got so much. For one pull, I got almost 500 cementing paste. I then looted a drop, which wasn't too great, and I headed back to base. And this is all the cementing paste I had. So with all that cementing paste, I started building my base out of concrete. It's looking nice. I got myself some nice windows and a bunch of nice looking walls, better than the normal walls. The only thing I needed was more resources, so I stocked up on that, and I headed back and continued building for the rest of the day. I got myself some nice little windows so I could see out of, and I put a balcony around. Day 47, I continued building until I ended up with this, my final product. I was quite happy with this. It was looking nice, a lot of windows so I could see around, and a lot of visibility. I can see my dinosaurs, have a nice view of the ocean from my balcony. I made a forge. Placed this down upstairs so I could start cooking up my metal a lot faster. Yeah, I was a happy little man. Got myself my forge, got myself my metal, and a bunch of resources. So I spent the rest of the day just moving things around upstairs. Day 48, I crafted myself a bunch of electronics. I made myself a chemistry bench. As I can craft narcotics and spark powder a lot faster. This is useful. I then made myself an industrial cooker so I can make myself med brews and vegetable cakes. It's going to be helpful later on. I then went around looking for tributes for boss fights like Thylacoleo claws, which is kind of important. Whilst I was here in the redwoods, I wanted to tame myself a couple of bees for honey. I needed that for vegetable cakes, so I grabbed myself a rocket launcher and shot down the beehives. Got its attention, and all I had to do was tame it. I just had to sneak up behind it and feed it. And it's just like that, I had myself a bee. I found myself another one. You know, I want to take myself about 2 or 3 of these, as honey is quite expensive on vegetable cakes. So that's what I did. I got myself 3 beehives and placed them down. All we had to do was wait for the honey. I then went out and gathered myself a bunch of resources, and I spent the rest of the day crafting spark powder and gunpowder so I could make bullets. On day 49, I went out of my green fly and found myself an alpha raptor, another tribute that I needed for the boss. I then renamed my Ankylosaurus like video. If you've made it this far, I don't see why not. Also, since my Ankylo survived this. I then went out and farmed myself a bunch more resources with the Ankylo, and I got myself a bunch of metal. I needed more. Fill up the forge, you know. I've got an industrial forge now. It cooks it at a lot faster rate, so I may as well keep it going. Because saddles are expensive. They are not cheap. So I spent the entire day getting metal, and I headed home and did a bit more raising of dinosaurs. On day 50, I went out and got myself a bunch of berries to fill up the troughs. I didn't want any accidents since we had a lot of babies raising. I then headed over to the southeast cave with my saber-tooth to try and gather another artifact. Ah! Ow! Oh! Why? Oh my goodness. What is this? Why is there so many? Quick. Good job I made some med brews. Oh no. Ah! Ah! They're slowing me. Ow! Ah! Jump away. Oh my. Eventually, I did clear my way through the cave and I got myself my artifact. That was 1 artifact down. I think I only had a few left. So on day 51, I had a plan to try to tame a Flappy Bird again. But this time, I knew how to do it. I had myself a Rex egg and all I had to do was wait for it to get its attention. But it still wasn't working. I didn't understand it. I spent the entire day trying to do it and I just gave up again. I killed it. On day 52, I tried it with another one. This time, it worked. Oh, wait. Oh, it worked. Oh my god. That's so cool. Oh, wait, run. What's this? Run. Just like that, I had myself a Flappy Bird finally tamed. It only took me a few days to try to tame one of these things, but hey, we did it eventually. And I spent the rest of the day planting some crop plots upstairs. On day 53, I had a bit of an irrigation problem to my crop plots. I didn't know how to fix it, and eventually I realized that I needed these water tankers. I then saddled up my Flappy Bird and I took it out for a little test drive. Alright, let's see what this thing can do. What is it? Oh, this is kind of cool. I didn't really know how to use it, to be honest, but it seemed that for getting around, you just flap around and glide. And also, you could see where wild babies are. I didn't really understand the whole point of it. I then made myself some tranquilizer darts, and I also made myself some medical brews. Oh, I was going to need these to stay alive. I then went looking for either a Giganotosaurus or a Carcho to tame, and I found level 145 pretty quick. This is good. They're rare, so to find one high level is pretty impressive. All I had to do was get it in the trap and tame it. Only problem is, with it being my first time, I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to knock it out. Yeah, oops, is all I can say to that. I had to wait for it to wake up. Day 54, I went around killing other dinosaurs to get myself some more tributes. Some Carnosaurus arms, and I also found myself a high-level UT. I wanted to tame this. Since we messed up with the Carcho, I wanted to tame it. So, I dragged it over an iceberg and knocked it out, only to find I had a bit of a problem. Are you serious right now? What? Yeah, it fell through the map. I don't even know how it's possible. But then I did find some high-level Datons just up the hill, which is, pretty nice. I needed one of these for the boss fights as well to heal my dinosaurs. So I took it home and tamed that for the rest of the day. On day 55, the Carcho finally awoke, and all I had to do was get it into the trap and tame it properly this time. Not mess it up. So I got it in, placed my traps around, and I got myself a Spino. I walked this thing over. It looked a bit stupid. All I had to do was feed it. Hello, I got you a Spino. You enjoy? You like? Wait. These Spinos actually do like a lot of percentage. Haha! Once I got it to like me by feeding it other dinosaurs, I jumped on its back and I had to help it kill things. Yeah, I rode down the river and had to look for as many things as I could until I got the bar 100%. It didn't take too long until I got it 100%, and I had myself a tamed Cartosaurus, which is good. You know, I really need this for the last boss. You know, clearing the cave is going to be a challenge. I then headed back over to my green fly, and I realized it was getting attacked. What the hell? Oi! Stop attacking it. Oh my god, it was nearly dead. Luckily, I managed to save its life before it died, and I moved my gate around on my base, since I couldn't really get access to it anymore. I then went out with the Ferrazino and I got myself a bunch of fiber, since I needed to craft saddles soon, and it is not cheap. It costs a lot of fiber. I looted my crop plots, only to find a bunch of crops have grown. Oh, it was pretty nice. I had to keep emptying them though. I had to remember to do that. I then found myself another Daedon, which I wanted to tame so I could start breeding them. So I shot it a few times with my tranquilizer darts, and after a while I eventually knocked it out. I did that for the rest of the day, and then I went out farming meat with my Carcho. On day 56, I placed myself down into a cryofridge in the base, so I was able to throw out dinosaurs anywhere, since currently I couldn't actually throw them out within my base. I went over and checked my beehives, and my honey was starting to gather. Well, all I needed to wait is for them to gather more. Now I had my little piggies, all I had to do was breed them. Get a little baby pig so I could have it for the boss fight. I began preparing my Rexes for the first boss fight. I leveled them into health so they could start to regenerate. I took a little journey over to my sap taps and gathered myself my sap. I was going to need vegetable cakes soon for other bosses, so I gathered it. I then went over to another cave where I wanted to get another artifact, and this cave is deadly. I'm gonna tell you, if I fall down one of these holes, I will die. So I took the safe approach and went through the cave slowly. Cleared my way through until I got to the artifact chamber. Oh, I just didn't want to get knocked down into one of these holes by a bat. That would not be good. Anyway, I made my way to the artifact and I looted it. All we had to do was get out of here. Come on. Right. Oh my. How are we gonna make this? Ooh, okay. I got this. I got this. Luckily, I survived the final jump. And let me just say, I have died here before. I had to start over. It wasn't fun. Anyway, I headed home and I began raising more babies. I tried to use the Flappy Bird to help raise them, but I had no idea how it actually worked. I got some sort of feather, which is for breeding. I then threw out my other Rexes and I had to prepare them for the boss fight as well. Just level them up. Did that for the rest of the day. On day 57, I started arranging my Rexes, just lining them all up, you know, preparing them. I wanted to know where they all was and just have them ready. I then went out looking for Spinos, since I needed the Spino sails for the boss. I went out looking for as many as I could, and I'll tell you, they're pretty hard to find. After a while, I managed to gather myself quite a few. I also killed a couple of Brontosauruses while I was out here to try and get myself the sauropods. I ended up coming across an Alpha Carno, and I don't know if I've already killed one, so I just killed it and got the tribute. I then went and found myself a bunch of Thylacoleos for the claws. Whoa! What the? Ah! I'm stuck in a tree. Really? Help. Oh my, what the? Ow. Ah. Yes. There we go. What the? You want to smoke as well? Yeah, that's what I thought. As you could see, I was having a lot of fun getting attacked by Thylacoleos. By the end of the day, I had myself a bunch of tributes, and I added them all to my chest. On day 58 in the morning, I claimed myself another Daedon, since I forgot to turn the breeding off. I then went out farming a few more tributes, like Allosaurus brains and Rexes. Allosaurus are pretty hard to find. I ended up wanting myself another artifact, so I went into a cave with a Ferrazino. I had to use a cryofridge to throw this thing out, but it was a lot better than using a saber tooth. So I used it to clear the cave, and after a while of clearing, I made my way to the artifact. Got myself Artifact of the Hunter. While I was down here, I found a couple of Megalanias. I need the Megalania toxin for a boss as well. And these are pretty hard to find, so I made advantage of this, and I got myself as much as I could. Got 4 in total. Day 59, I went into the Carno cave. It's a pretty difficult cave. I had to use a cryofridge again, and I swam through and used my Therizino. All I had to do was make it down to the bottom so I could loot the artifact. So I made my way down to the bottom, and cleared everything, and I found the final artifact. Yeah, the last artifact I needed for all the boss fights. So I gathered it, and I then headed back home. Now we have all the artifacts that we need, I started preparing. I made myself a bunch of bullets, and I made myself an industrial cooker. I needed prime meat to make a mind wipe tonic, so I placed down my cooker, and all I had to do was get some meat. So I went out to the Carcho and harvested a bunch of dinosaurs, and I quickly got capped on meat. Yeah, it's great. Well, this thing's really good at farming. So I headed back to the base, and then I turned all this raw prime meat into cooked prime meat. I was able to make myself my mind wipe with this, but also cooked prime meat is pretty good for feeding tames. I was then able to make myself my mind wipe tonic, which meant I could start making my saddles. So I used it, and I reskilled into crafting skill, which would actually improve the quality of the crafts. I then began making my saddles, which was quite important that they came out quite high. You know, we're taking on a boss fight on the hardest difficulty, so I didn't want them to die. I did get some pretty nice crafts, with some coming out as high as 101 armor. I then spent the rest of the day leveling up the Rexes that I hadn't leveled yet, and saddling them all up, you know, preparing them for the boss fight. On day 60, I bred my pigs again. I had a few better ones now, and I wanted them to come out with the better stats. It's also nice to have extra pigs for healing things, so I used one of them for healing up my Rexes, but it soon ran out of hunger. So I had to go out and farm myself a bunch of raw meat, so I could keep it well fed, so I could carry on healing. I did exactly that, and I headed back and continued healing them. I spent a while doing this, and then I claimed my new Daedon, and it came out with the good stats, so I named it War Doctor. Yeah, I don't know why. It's a bad name. I could have chose a better one than that. And see, I could have named it Pepper. Pepper Pig or something, I don't know. Anyway, now I put the structures onto my Quetzal, and I was ready to go, you know. I spent the rest of the day just crafting medical brews. On day 61 in the morning, I wanted to make myself some more narcotics, just in case I find anything I want to tame. I then went out and got myself a bunch more tributes that I was going to need for the boss fight, like Argent Talons and also Spino Sails. I needed a few more for the boss fight, so I gathered everything I needed. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I was ready and had everything. I then went out with my Ankylosaurus and got myself a bunch more metal, just to keep the forge going. I had myself a lot. Day 62, I got myself a few more resources, like wood, and, you know, just stocked up. I wanted to make myself some shotgun ammo as well, so I could shoot the boss. I then spent the rest of the day into day 63, just loading up my Quetzal and flying things over to the obelisk. Whilst I was setting off, I accidentally whistled Follow All. It was a bit of a disaster. No, I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't happy, you know. All the dinosaurs just came running out of the base, and they just went everywhere. Anywho, I spent the rest of the day moving the final Rexes over to the obelisk. Yeah, the final load. So I loaded up my Daedon as well, and off we went. We were ready to take on the boss. Since the day was coming to an end, I waited, and on day 64, I began the boss fight. Yeah, Alpha Megapithecus. It's going to be a challenge, but hopefully we can do it. Let's get this. Come on. Right. Go. Go. Attack. Oh. One of my Rexes just fell off. Okay. Come on. We don't want any more deaths. You got this. I can't have you dying because I need you for the last boss. Get it. Kill it. Oh my, that nearly walked off. These Rexes are... What are they doing? Attack it. Get it. Oh my god. No. Oh, they're all dying. Loads of them just went off. Oh, no. Oh my god. 2 more just died. I'll heal you. Don't worry. Everyone else jumped off the cliff. It's just us. We got this. Come on. Rocket launcher. Rocket launcher. Aha. Well done, guys. I'm proud of you. Done a good job. Not those who jumped off the cliff, though. And just like that, we took down the Megapithecus. I looted myself, my element, and also got my trophy, which I needed for the final boss. I could not be forgetting that. So, it was a good day. I was a very happy, man. You know, we took down the boss, but we did lose a bunch of Rexes in the process, which isn't so great at all. But I had to begin preparing for my next boss fight, the Broodmother. So, over the next few days, I started throwing out Megatheriums near the boss arena. I then finished off the day by making myself a bunch of cementing paste for saddles. On day 66, I threw out all of my little Megatheriums, and I lined them all up. I then went out with the Doedicurus and got myself a bunch of stone. Yeah, I got myself a lot of it. It was good. I wanted to make myself cementing paste for that, which is actually quite expensive. But I needed cementing paste for the saddles. I also went out with the Ankylosaurus and got myself a bunch of metal. I dropped it to myself in the base and filled up the forge, and yeah, we had a lot on the go. I was rich. Day 67, I went out and killed a bunch of sarcos, which these little crocodiles, they give skin, and I need that for the boss fight. It's pretty weird. Anyway, after I gathered a bunch, I headed back to the obelisk, threw out another Megatherium, so I didn't have to fly it over. It's just easier this way. I then went out, got myself a bunch of fiber, because, you know, I needed to make saddles for Megatheriums, and it's not cheap. Got myself a bunch of other resources, like wood, and then I went and made myself some notes. I went to make myself some food this time while I was crafting the saddles. Got myself a few extra Argentavis talons. On day 68, I got myself a bunch of hide by harvesting with the Ferrazino. I was getting around 500 hide per dinosaur, which is quite impressive. It's a great way of farming. These Brontos, I was getting about 1,000 just for 2 of them. Once I finished, I had myself a ton of hide, able to make a bunch of saddles, which was quite nice. So, I took my mind wipes and used them. I made some food, made some burgers, IKUGEE's burgers and IKUGEE's soda. Nice little recipes. I make myself food now, which is great. They started to come to an end though, so I made my saddles for my Megatheriums. And they came out pretty nice as well. I then made myself a bunch of food, and made myself a bunch of drinks. I wanted to stay well hydrated. I then spent the rest of the day saddling up all my Megatheriums and leveling them up, you know, preparing them for the next boss fight. It was important. On day 69, I began stacking them up all on the Quetzal. It took a while getting everything up here, and then I finally finished. I got my Daedon up here as well. I was going to need it for the boss fight again. While I was waiting for the next day to come around, I bred up like dinosaurs again. I got myself a bunch of eggs. I then headed over to the obelisk at the end of the day and started lining up everything around the arena. I was ready to go and take on the Broodmother. On day 70, I used one of my Daedons to heal up all the Megatheriums, because a lot of them wasn't actually healed yet. I had to make sure they were full health before we went in, otherwise they would die. But now we were ready. We were ready to take on the Alpha Broodmother. So I started the arena, and off we went. Hopefully we can do it. Alright, this is it. Come on, let's do this. Where's my Megatherium? There is he. There he is. Alright, comrades. Let's go. Let's take down that Broodmother. Bring home our trophy. Go. Attack. Charge. Come on, comrades. Go. See the target. I'll get him and take him down. I'll get the Daedon. I'll heal you up. Oh my god, they're taking so much damage. 1,800. A hit. Oh, I set that on there. Why are they taking so much damage? Ah! One of them died. Oh, that's not a good start. Oh no. That's not good. How is one already dying? Oh. This is... Oh no. Come on. Come on, we got this. I feel like I'm doing more damage with my shotgun. Shoot. Oh my. Oh dear. We have a few comrades down. Okay, we have 16 comrades down. It's just me. Please. Please. Come on. Fight him. Yeah. That was close. We almost died. So, it was a close fight, you know. I almost died. Luckily, I didn't. But hey, I got myself my tribute and element. And I went home and placed down my flag. I was proud. It was just me taking on the boss. I only just survived. But now we have one more boss before the final boss, the dragon. So on day 71, I raised myself a bunch of Ferrazinos. Yeah, I needed more. But to keep them alive, I had to get myself some more berries and just kind of stock up. I didn't want them dying. Also got myself some stim berries, which I used to make the mammoth poop. I needed that for fertilizer to keep my crop plots filled. I needed vegetable cakes for this next boss, so I didn't want it to be running out anytime soon. I then wanted to make myself a replicator, which to me seemed like a good idea. However, it's very expensive on resources. But there was a few things that I actually wanted to make, like tech armor. So on day 72, I went out and got everything I needed, like crystal, and also a bunch of obsidian. Crystal was pretty easy to farm. Obsidian, it's a bit harder to find. But after a while of looking, I managed to gather myself a bunch of it, and I made myself a ton of polymer. Yeah, it's a difficult resource to gather. Once I had everything, I put it all inside the Argentavis, and on day 73, I went to the obelisk, and I unloaded the Argentavis, put it all into the obelisk, and this took a while. Once I finally had it all in there, I was able to craft myself my replicator. Exactly what I did. It's a good day, a replicator. It's a good achievement to make. It's a very expensive item, but, you know, it's going to be worth it. I went back to base and tried to find where I could even place this thing. Honestly, it's huge. It's way too big. Tried to do a bit of moving around within the base. I had to move the forge, and I placed it down. The only thing I needed now was more tributes for the next boss fight, which I'm going to have to kind of farm over the next few days. I need more of pretty much everything. So I went out, found myself a bunch of Uteranuses, where I get their hearts. I needed this for the dragon. I also needed Allosaurus brains, which are very hard to find. So I focused on the Utahsauruses for now, and I went into day 74, doing the same thing. And then I found this. A Uti with 2 babies, level 145. So I killed it and claimed them. Yeah, there was 2 of them. They were twins, both opposite genders, which is great for me. I had to raise them up, and while I was doing that, I went out and found more. Got myself all the Uti hearts that I needed, and now all I needed was a Giganotosaurus heart. A bit of a pain to find, but hopefully we'll be able to find one pretty soon. And then gathered myself some eggs, and on day 75, I went around looking for dinosaurs for tributes. On the way I found the little airdrop and didn't really get much. I did get some polymer out of the other one, which was quite nice. And then I found some Rexes where I could get their Rex arms, and they were the final arms that I actually needed. I then spent the rest of the day, up until day 79, actually looking for Allosauruses. Yeah, these things are a pain to find. Literally painful. I couldn't find them anywhere. But I spent a while farming, and I eventually found a few. I then spent the rest of the day farming airdrops, trying to find myself, hopefully, a good saddle for the next boss fight. Preferably, obviously, a Therizino saddle, since that's what I was going to be using. I did find some nice bits of gear, but after a while, I eventually found an airdrop which contained a saddle. There's a green ramshackle saddle, which wasn't too great, but honestly, you know, it's pretty good. I did get a purple one, which is just very expensive to craft, which I can't afford that. So the green one is actually perfect. I headed back to base with everything I had and started organizing my chests, since it was a little bit messy. I couldn't be dealing with it. I then made myself an industrial grinder, as it's a great way to dispose of the mess. Alright, let's see what I get for this. Wow, that's not too bad. I mean, 150 metal and a bunch of polymer, a bunch of cementing paste. Oh, that's pretty good. So as you can see, it was quite profitable. Yeah, I got a bunch of resources and a ton of polymer, which is incredible. It was really helpful. Day 80, I did my breeding of my Uteranuses, since I didn't imprint on the others. I claimed it, and I realized it's only level 145. I figured out it's because I claimed 2 babies that were level 145. I probably should have tamed the parent. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I crafted myself a bunch of saddles in the replicator. I crafted some journeyman ones and ramshackle. It came out pretty nice, you know. Got some nice procs on these. Even the green ones actually came out quite high, with 91 armor. Anyway, spent the rest of the day to get myself a bit more hide, since I need to craft more saddles, and it's quite expensive. After I had myself a bunch, I finished off the day by crafting a couple more saddles, and we were done. On day 81, I needed myself more metal so I could craft myself a tech suit. Yeah, I went out and got a bunch of it. It was a good farm run. I then went and looted my sap taps for more sap, since, you know, I was going to be crafting a lot of vegetable cakes. Then went home and leveled up all my ferries and started lining them up, preparing them. I threw a bunch of them out, had to wait for them to awake, but, you know, I had to get them ready. So I had to just kind of do it, you know. I had to wait for them.
Day 82, I then started leveling them up and moving them over as they woke up. It was a long process, you know, saddling them up and leveling them, but after a while, I eventually had it done. And we were ready. Full line of fairies and a Uteranus and a Daedon. Ready for the next boss. We were in a pretty good position. You know, I highly believe in ourselves. I think we have this. I then threw out a few more Rex eggs since we were going to need them for the final boss, and the time was coming around fast, you know, we were going to be needing them pretty soon. On day 83, I forgot about them. Yeah, I did go and claim them eventually, but they were dying. I was starving. So I had to go out of my carcho and get myself a bunch of raw meat to make sure they didn't die. I then flew around and found this. Excuse me, good sir, why are you in a wall? This is kind of... Come on, out you come. How am I meant to kill you? Okay, I guess it's shotgun it is. This is going to be a long process. After many bullets later, I killed it and got my final heart that I needed. Yeah, it was good. I was a happy man, strolling along, day 82. 2 hearts. I was very lucky. And then I found this, a level 145 Carchosaurus, which must have spawned after I killed the Giganotosaurus. Anyway, I obviously wanted to tame it, as I wanted to breed it with mine. And then I could have an imprinted one, so I could take on the tech cave. Since there's a lot of wild Giganotosauruses down there, I was going to need something to take them down, and this seemed like a great idea. So I got some food, and I spent the rest of the night trying to tame it. Okay, here we go again. Do you want to taste this? You want my Fiumia? Yeah? I like it. You want more? Ow! What the? Okay, what about this? You want a stego? You like the stego? Yeah, and I can get you a few more if you want. Yeah? Ow! What the? Okay, here you go. Eat. Another stego for you then, I guess. Come on. Do you want it? You want another stego, buddy? Here you go. Come on. Yes, it's ready. Aha! So, just like that, we had ourselves our second Carcho. Not quite tamed yet, though. I had to find things to eat. I struggled to find things, so I ended up having to go over to the snow, and there was a lot more creatures there. I killed a bunch of things with it, and I managed to tame it. Ah! What the? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought it was gonna kill me. This was pretty scary. Once I got back, though, I bred it up, and I got an egg. My first Carcho egg. It's pretty cool. It's quite impressive, actually. All I had to do was wait for it, and it actually took forever. That egg was ridiculous. It's gonna take a while. So while I was waiting for it, I lined up all my Therazinos onto my Quetzal, and got my Daedon on there as well. Prepared it all for the next boss. Yeah, it was all ready to go. All I had to do was find a bunch more Alosauruses, so I went out looking. You know, since my egg was waiting to be hatched, I thought it was a good idea to get everything I needed for the boss. After a while of looking around, I did get quite lucky. I found a few groups of Allosauruses, and I eventually had all the aloe brains that I needed. Now we had all the tributes that we needed, and the Therazinos, all I needed was myself some vegetable cakes. So I went and got myself some stimberries and made some stimulants, and I proceeded to make myself a bunch of vegetable cakes. Yeah, they're not cheap, but I managed to make quite a good number of them, so hopefully it'll be enough for the boss fight. Once the day came to an end, I realized all my Therazinos fell off my Quetzal, which meant I had to line them all back up again, up on top of it. It was pretty annoying. I spent the rest of the night doing this. On day 85, I took them all to the boss terminal where I was able to start the fight. All I had to do was get them all off the Quetzal and line them all up, so that's what I did in the morning. After some time, I almost had them all lined up, and obviously, I had to put them in a perfect circle. Yes, I don't know why, it's just, I wanted to do that. Then my base got attacked by a Bronto. Oh, why? Yeah, I don't know why it came into my base. Anyways, now we had all our vegetable cakes, I headed over to the obelisk again with another Daedon. I had to heal up all my Therazinos because not all of them was full health. I wanted to make sure they were ready. And then my Carcho hatched. I claimed it. Yeah, it's a very happy man. It's a very strong Carcho as well. It's got very good stats into melee. It's Really nice. Day 86, I used my vegetable cakes to actually load up my Therazinos. I wanted to make sure that they didn't die. I mean, they probably will, but hey, we're going to do our best to keep them alive. And we were ready. I started the fight, and off we went.
Do. Alright. Come on, team. Therazinos, attack! No, not the dimorph. Oh my... these stupid birds. Come on. Kill the dragon. Attack the dragon. Oh, no. What are they doing? They just stood in front of him, all getting burned. No, come on. Yeah, they're all dying. Oh, no. My Uteranus. No. Oh my god, they're dead. No, come on. No! Ah! I can't let it die. If my No! Ah, I just lost my 20% raid buff. Come on. Please, I help you. I heal you and kill it with my pig. Come on. Ah. Ah. Come on. Oh, they're all dying. This is not good. Everything is just dying. Eat the cake. Eat the cake. Come on. No. No. It's just the two of us now. Come on. He's so low. It's just me. No. My ferry's gonna die. My Ferrazino's gonna die. Please spare me. Spare me. Spare me. Ah. No. Get on the pig. Get on the pig. Get on the pig. We're safe. You still got this. Shoot it. Oh, yeah. Come on. You're so low. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Run away. Run away. Run away. Run. Please. Please spare me. Spare me. Oh my. Run. Oh. It's so over. No. No. Ah. Come on. Please. Please. Quicker. Come on. I'm running so fast. Ow. Please. No. Oh my god. Oh my. That was so close. I don't even know how I done it. You are horrible. You slaughtered all my dinosaurs.
And just like that, that is how you take down the dragon. Yeah, probably not just like that, but no, we did it. We got ourselves a bunch of tech engrams, and also got myself an element and our final trophy for the last boss. So I gathered myself as many saddles as I could before we got out of there. And then I realized I had 2 Therazinos that didn't even go inside. It could have been a completely different story. Anyway, I headed home and I grinded up these saddles that I had, and I needed the resources to make wreck saddles again, since a lot of them fell into a pit of death. Once I grinded them, I made myself a tech suit. Yeah, you know, I wanted to get around a little bit easier. It's quite nice, just for general doing things. I can also use it to go underwater, which is quite helpful. As the day came to an end, on day 87, I had to claim myself some new Uteranuses. It hatched as triplets, which is quite lucky. 3 of them. I then went out of my Carchosaurus to get myself a bunch of meat. It's extremely fast. An imprinted one is ridiculous. It's unstoppable. I don't know how it's even allowed to be this fast. Anyway, I wandered around for quite a while into day 88, and I actually came across something pretty extraordinary. Yeah, you won't believe it. An Alpha T-Rex. Oh my. This is so good. I really needed this. This is one of the last things that I needed. Yes! Aha! This is good. So all I had to do was take it down, and I had myself one of my final pieces of the puzzle. I killed something and got myself a little buff, and I took it down. Killed it. Yeah, got myself an Alpha Tyrannosaurus tooth. Pretty good. All I actually needed now was an Alpha Blubber from a big whale, which is difficult to find. And I spent the rest of the day breeding up more Rexes and things like that, and I realized something. My raft, all my structures had just disappeared. I had no idea what even happened. And I threw out my Rexes and I started preparing them for my next boss. So I spent a little while throwing all these out that I had. I didn't have too many. I then wanted to make myself more gunpowder for bullets, but I needed more charcoal. So I worked on that, and I filled up the forge with wood. And then I made myself some medical brews to end the day. On day 89, I went out and got myself some more metal, and I loaded up the forge. I still needed metal, and I still needed a lot of it. A lot of things that I needed to be crafting, but I didn't have the resources. So I then headed out with my Therizinosaur and stacked up on hide, you know. For these saddles that I needed to make, I needed quite a lot. So I gathered as much as I could, I headed back to base, and I loaded up the replicator. I crafted them later. On day 90, a lot of my Rexes had awoke, and I started lining them all up, preparing them for my boss. I wanted to know where they all was, so I just like to keep them in line. I then put down another egg for my Carcho, to claim another one. And spent the rest of the day crafting myself a bunch of bullets and gunpowder. I had a lot of gunpowder crafting. It was very nice. I crafted myself a bunch of shotgun ammo. Day 91, I claimed my Carcho, and its stats wasn't great. It wasn't as good as my other one, and it also wasn't the opposite gender for the mate boost. I then went out for the rest of the day of 91 and looking for an Alpha Leadichus, a big whale. They're pretty hard to find. In fact, you know, they're actually really hard to find. You know, they're in places where you wouldn't even expect them to be, in the deep ocean. So it's not ideal, you know, when you're trying to look for them. So I had to go looking for them and kill them, and they all share the spawns with an alpha one, so hopefully I would find one later. On day 92, I did manage to come across an Alpha Leadichus, and yeah, all I had to do was kill it. That was our final piece that we needed. I managed to kill it pretty easily, and I got myself my blubber. Yeah, now we have everything we needed for the boss. I put it all into a separate little box, and we were ready. Everything for the Alpha Overseer. As the day was coming to an end, though, I started to craft myself a bunch of Rex saddles, which I would later equip to the Rexes. I also had to level them all up and, you know, make sure they were all healed for it. And then I repaired my armor for the next boss fight, since that's what saved me in the last one. Day 93, I claimed myself another UT since my last 3 died of starvation. Yeah, oopsie. So I went out and got myself a bunch of meat this time without getting distracted of an Alpha T-Rex. And I took it back. I cooked it all up into cooked meat, and I made sure that it didn't die. I was then curious and wanted to send the Flappy Bird off of the Quetzal. Oi! I then had a great idea. So what if I sent it off the top of a Quetzal from the top of the map? I could make it to the other side of the map. That'd be a good little challenge. I didn't do that though. I should have. On day 94, I used my crafted Rex saddles to equip them to the Rexes. And I wanted to start preparing them for the boss fight. And then I went for a swim in the Easy Underwater Cave, trying to get some better saddles for a Uranus. Yeah, I also looted some drops on the surface into day 95, and I didn't really find much. I did come across a high armor Therizino saddle, and also a 70 armor Uti saddle, which will do. And then renamed my Uranus Jellybean and Fredo. Good names. I then placed myself down a bunch of Rex eggs, which I actually wanted to use to level up my Uranus. So I did. So when they hatched, I killed a bunch of Rexes, and it would give it levels. This is how I level things up usually. It's pretty good. It'll sell 29 levels. It's going to be helpful for taking on the boss. And the thing is, for the next one, I grabbed myself an Explorer note and then did it. And this time, I got even more experience. I got 41 levels, which is pretty good. I then spent the rest of the day crafting a bunch of tech structures, as I wanted to build something. On day 96, I began building outside the tech cave. I wanted to place things down so I could actually throw out all my dinosaurs here and easily access the cave. And I didn't want them dying to lava. That was very important to me. One Rex out. It's got like 20 more to go. Oh, no! Ah! It's dying! It's burning. What have I done? It's actually dying. No. So, yeah, one of my Rexes nearly died. I flew out of render distance and came back, though, and it stopped burning. I was quite lucky, and it didn't die. Yeah, I needed as many Rexes as I could, so if they died right now, that would not be very helpful. Anyway, I expanded the floor since, well, yeah, the incident, and then I decided to make myself some tech teleporters. I thought this was a great idea, as it meant I could move my Rexes to and from the cave. So I made myself 2 generators, and all I needed was crystal for my teleporter pads.
Yeah, so I went out and I got a bunch of this, and then I had an inventory full, and I headed back home. I was able to make my teleporters, but unfortunately, the large ones were too expensive. Yeah, I was a brokey. I couldn't afford them. So I made 2 medium ones, and I placed one down just beside my base. Day 97, I placed my other teleporter outside the cave where I was going to be taking on the final boss. This way I was able to transfer my dinosaurs freely without having to fly a Quetzal. Because let me tell you, they're slow. Very slow. But now I was able to line them up on top of my teleport pad and just teleport them there. It really sped things up. So for the rest of day 97, this is pretty much what I did. I also went into day 98 doing this, just lining them all up, taking them over. It's a long process, let me tell you. On day 98, I finished transferring all my dinosaurs. Yeah, I did my final teleport, and I had them all here. All I had to do was organize them a little bit, line them up, because they were scattered everywhere. I had myself, my Uteranus's, my Rex's, and my Daedons, and even my big dinosaur. It was great. We were ready, prepared. The only thing I needed to do was heal everything up fully, because not everything was full health. I used a Daedon just to top everything up. Yeah, it took a while. Anyway, I got clouded by a bunch of fog, which I was kind of scared in case a Giganotosaurus decided to jump off the mountain and kill me. Oh, would not be good. I then finished the day by crafting myself some more shotgun ammo. I gotta be prepared for the next day. And on that day, 99, I had all my tributes ready, and we were ready to rumble. Ready to take on the final boss. So I filled up that bad boy with all the tributes, and we were ready to go. I started the boss. Yeah, I opened the door to Narnia. All I had to do was get all my tames in there, and I had 5 minutes to do it. That's not a lot of time, let me tell you. It's really not. And I had a problem. When I bought tames in here, they started falling under the map. I don't know how this happened, but it really wasn't helping the situation. I had 5 minutes, and they're doing this. It's not good. Anyway, I eventually managed to get all my Rexes in here, except the ones that fell under the map, and I began clearing the cave with my Carcho. Made my way down. I had a couple of problems on the way with some Rexes that like to jump in lava. Sent back to the gulag. So, not good. We lost a couple of Rexes along the way, but I found my way down almost to the exit, and there was a Giganotosaurus, and I took care of that pretty easily. It wasn't a problem. I made my way up to the teleportation pad, which takes me to the boss fight, and I realized I'd lost half my Rexes. So I had to run all the way back through the cave and go find them. I got them, and I took them to the teleportation pad, and off we went. Yeah, I was ready for this. I was ready. The only thing is, I spawned inside a rock. Yeah, a nice game. But after a 10-minute walk, I made it to the boss arena. Yeah, me and my Rex army. I made my way into where the Ark is created. And all I had to do is take down the boss. Well, we charged him down. Unstoppable. Well, no one can stop me now. Except maybe you. Let's see. Kill it! Ow! Bombs! Explosives. Ah! Lasers! Let me on, let me on. Ah! Come on. Where is he? There he is. Chase him down! Chase him down, team. Oh, a Rex army chasing him. Kill him! Fight him! More lasers. What is this? Ah! What the? Freckle? Ow! What is this? It's particles. Hey! Wait up! Wait up! Yes. Get him! Chase him! Get him! Come on. There's a dragon. Oh no. I killed the dragon. Yes. Alright. What are these? Why are the little drones chasing me? I'm getting zapped up here. Come on. It's half health. Oh! Lasers! Dodge them. Alright. Come on. Get him! Kill him! What's that? That's a monkey. Oh. That's a Broodmother. Kill him. Oh my god. He's on 1 health. Yes! And like that, I took him down. Only to be greeted by something I didn't quite understand. Wait, what has happened to me? What?
What? Huh? Yeah. I found myself waking up in the middle of a desert. Confused.
What the... How did I get here?